Um, Most notably and well known for the total and utter decimation on the Beeple auctions and collecting every single one of those one of one pieces. Um, I guess one splash wasn't big enough for Troubadour and Metapurse. So what we're going to be talking about today is an ultimate splash that is being launched tomorrow, which is the launch of the B20 token. And we will be going through and understanding more about Troubadour, Metapurse, as well as the B20 token today during this Whale FM stream. So welcome aboard, my friend.
Thanks so much, Whale Shark. Speaking of decimation, my son, I have a 10-year-old at home. He took a look at the poster and saw your name and said, "Wow, are you going to fight him in the metaverse or something?" So I said, "No, dude. I mean, we're going to talk." Why? He said, "No, that's good because he'd kick your ass in a fight." I said, "What?" I don't even know. They said, "I mean, it's Whale Shark. What do you expect is going to happen?" So I said, "No, I agree with you. So we're just going to do some talking here." So this has been a long time coming, Whale Shark, and this is such a pleasure. Every conversation with you has been awesome, and this is just one in many more to follow, I'm sure.
Absolutely, and you can rest assured, your friend, that you would definitely win against me in the fight. Quick hands, right to the nose. I'll be swimming away pretty quickly. So I do think we're gonna get along famously, my friend. So I know you pretty well because we before I launched Whale, I spent quite a bit of time with you, right? I mean, we eventually went on to 2 separate voice interviews and recordings. And I've always had a huge amount of respect for you, your writing style, and what you're doing in the space. Back then, you weren't involved with Metapurse yet, but I could tell from the enthusiasm, and what we have up on the screen right now is actually where I learned a lot about you from, which is your Scent account, right? For the audience here today who haven't heard a lot about Troubadour, can you take us through your background, take us through your history, and let us get to know you a tiny bit better?
Sure. I'd say I'm a bit of a squatter in the crypto space. I don't really belong, not like you, Whale Shark. I mean, having known you, your journey, your foray into crypto, it's very, how do I say, very targeted and very strong in that sense. I sort of found my way into crypto, mostly credit to Metacoven, who introduced the space to me on various occasions, and I finally fell into the rabbit hole sometime in 2017. I have been a journalist in my past life for about 8 years, and it took me 8 years to figure out that that wasn't my true calling. So I branched out into other arenas of verbal expression, advertising, a bit of movie making, some broadcast, and the nebulous world of corporate communications and all of the stuff that it entails. Before finally landing up in the crypto space. So I handle community and communications for Whale Street, which is bang in the middle of the DeFi space. But NFTs really happened in April 2020, which is around the time I spoke with you first, I think in May. The end of April or May is when I spoke to you. You were right at the cusp of launching Whale. And so since then, like you said, I've had a parallel journey of discovery, not just of the amazing people in the space, the creators, the artists, and innovators like yourself, but also on a journey of self-discovery. What am I really about? What do I want to write about? What am I interested in? And I think I've sort of reached a stage where I understand that much better now, and in large part, I owe that to Metacoven and to the idea of Metaverse.
That is an amazing story, my friend. And once again, when you and I talked, I know that was really your entry foray, and it's just been amazing to see how fast you've grown in the space. Which is why this interview is something that I definitely couldn't pass up. Not only for getting back at you for those first 2 interviews, but more so, I mean, it's just been amazing to see that growth, right?
Yeah.
You did speak a little bit about your entry into crypto, right? And you did say that you were introduced in through Metacoven, who one day I very much hope that we will be able to have the pleasure of having him on Whale FM as well, because again, a very highly respected figure, a very highly respected collector in the space. Can you tell us a little bit more about your journey, right? Because I know when I did get to know you. You were actively participating in Scent. My understanding is that then after that you did you did start to work more closely with the whip team, and I'm sure
Yeah.
you're involved in a lot of different areas of space. So what sort of areas in the space are you working in at the moment?
Sure, that's. I mean that was very organic, and I think that's the best part about a space which is still in its infancy, right? So there's no way you'd get terribly lost, and this in fact reminds me of a tweet that Matthew just put out earlier in the day. He said that there is a risk of people, missing the wood for the trees or something like that. They get into a dark forest, and there are tools out there which can help them. And I believe the biggest sort of help or aid that anybody can get in the NFT space is the weekly WIP meetup, which has turned out to be one of the largest metaverse gathering on a weekly basis, and basically the nerve center of everything that happens to touch the NFT space. So I quite naturally gravitated towards that. The first phenomena I wrote about was an art auction in async art, which blew my mind. First, because it upended my notions about art and artists. In a sense, I started to really feel art for the first time. It's like suddenly discovering your taste buds at the age of 30 or 35. So that's how it felt to me, because I could finally find art which I can respond to, and which is completely contrarian to the kind of art I was used to. And I was also uh, able to get in touch with the artists, which is not something you get IRL. So that was the first hit, and then after that I was hooked. That was my gateway entry point of the rabbit hole. You mean? I was looking for my next hit, and I found that at the whip. So in one shot you get updates and insights from 3 or 4 people who are all on the cutting edge of this, all on the bleeding edge of either tech or NFTs or art or finance or whatever it is. And so WIP was a natural fit for me. Even there, I assumed the role of a squatter. I walked in one day and never left. So now Matthew and the rest of the team are forced to call me part of their crew, not because of any massive contribution I've done there, but just because I'm just one of those guys who wouldn't leave.
They are fully honored, and I think we're all fully honored to have you part of the entire NFT land crew, my friend.
Thanks, man. Apart from that, of course, I've been working very closely with the Whale Street team, the Lendroid team, who have created a lot of tiny innovations which have all added up to what we are doing currently. Innovations like a smart contract for NFT leasing, a smart contract for distribution of decentralized distribution of funds, which I'm sure artists are going to love once we are able to make that live, and Whale Street, which is a proper blend of DeFi and the NFT space. So I've got my hand in all of these pies, but Metapurse has been a sort of an overarching umbrella under which all of these tend to converge.
Very cool. And dude, I know we have a lot to cover today, but would love to have you back at a later date to talk about Whale Street.
Sure.
Once again, I think when you get into NFTs, the blending between the DeFi world and the NFT world, simply because NFTs are valuable assets, is not only essential, but it's inevitable, right? And a lot of the pioneers behind that right now, such as NFTX and NIFTX, and all these other amazing lending platforms and loan platforms, it's just, I think it's a true renaissance, and seeing people being able to replicate the traditional asset loan and asset liquidity market on NFTs, it's just a joy to watch. So would love to hear more about that when you're ready to talk about it as well.
Sure.
You've already touched on the core point, or one of the core points that we're here to talk about today, and that is Metapurse, right? A lot of us had heard the name before, but the name really started and really got a large amount of recognition with the epic slaughter that you guys performed during the Beeple collection auction. And you will hear me use a lot of those words: decimation, slaughter, overpower. But how did you get involved with Metapurse? And more importantly, for the entire group and listeners that we have here and on YouTube, what is Metapurse?
Brilliant. Metapurse is a crypto fund and an NFT production house. At least that's the way we describe ourselves right now. It's exclusively a crypto fund, and as an idea, it has existed for a while now in Metacoven's head. I mean, he's been collecting NFTs since late 2016, investing in interesting projects. I wouldn't exactly say not even just investing, but rather putting skin in the game, putting his money where his mouth is. He's got the largest estate on Decentraland. He's got an Orbit Galaxy. He owns the Delta Time 111, the Formula One. This one. He owns the first async art piece, which is First Supper, and a variety of such NFTs. And the beauty of it is that he doesn't invest in ideas once they've proven themselves. Rather, goes out on a limb and invests in them when they are dots on a screen, or the only utility they have is to exist on the blockchain, and so on and so forth. So when my journey, like you very generously described, grew very fast in the NFT space, Metacoven and I discovered that our thesis about the NFT space, about NFTs being the touchstone of everything that's crypto, sort of converged at a point, and we decided to join forces and explore this together. Now, Metacoven has a very keen financial mind. He's able to engineer, financial systems and models around seemingly extremely illiquid ecosystems. And me, I'm a junkie for NFTs, so it was sort of a perfect fit. So what he basically did was to enable my already hopeless addiction for NFTs of all kinds, whether it is art or wearables or in-game assets, all of this stuff. And we sort of went on a journey again. So he kept a few feet above all of this, and I sort of dived in with gusto, and we sort of converged in an interesting place. That's how Metapurse was formed.
That is amazing, and again, I'm so interested in what you guys are trying to achieve in the space, or
Sure.
what Actually, honestly, I actually have several questions for you. The first one is, so you mentioned that you and Metacoven. Sorry, dude, I get so excited when I talk to other
Yeah.
investors and collectors in this space,
Yeah.
because I really love understanding their philosophy and where they're coming from. You mentioned that you and Metacoven shared a similar thesis or a similar philosophy when it comes to NFTs. Could you extrapolate on that thesis a tiny bit and let us understand what is that thesis behind investing in NFTs, and what do you think the end game that you guys are looking for is through Metapurse?
Sure. One part of this is, and I think you instinctively agree with this, Whale Shark, is that we can't all keep waxing eloquent about NFT, saying that it's the best thing since sliced bread or whatever, because we also need to acknowledge some of the limitations of this space. Primarily the fact that there is no stream of consumption for NFTs today. Isn't that right? And it's one of the reasons why Whale happened in the first place. There is no liquidity around it. It's basically a massive ETH sponge. The space, the way you look at it. ETH keeps pouring into it without any outlet right now, and it's all potential, nothing kinetic yet. So Metapurse, inadvertently, it has two parts to an ideology. One part is to collect stories. The second part is to catalyze change. So NFTs are basically batteries that capture and store stories, and some of these stories might have a long shelf life. Some of them might fizzle out and die. But the idea, the first part of it, is to collect interesting stories like the land parcels, or like Beeple. The other part is to create some sort of a consumption stream which is oriented around these NFTs, and that's what the Beeple drop was all about. That's what B20 is all about. So if I may segue into the mass slaughter that you spoke about of B20, it is born from this conviction that we need to move into a space, either organically or by force in this instance, towards a place where people can consume NFTs and pay for that consumption. Right? That's when it becomes sustainable. So on the one side, we want to move away from engaging with NFTs or art in an unimaginative manner, which is basically to buy it and hopefully flip it at a later time, and rather make it some sort of a continuous stream. So because of this conviction, we were able to push through and sort of buy up all of the 20 one-of-one pieces of Beeple. And I think
That
it's
is
only
a
because of this conviction that we were able to do so.
That is an amazing and a spot-on assessment on the space. I love the fact that you guys see all of these as stories, right? And at the same time, I also love the fact that you guys understand that there is a need for, there is a need for liquidity of these assets within the space, whether that's you're behaving as a liquidity maker or creator,
Right.
or as actually the buying force within the space itself. And by actually using your buying power in the space, you're actually enabling an entire ecosystem to continue to progress economically, technologically, as well as just gaining more traction and headlines in the space. So, two thumbs up and congratulations to both of you for doing that. We do share a similar ideology as well.
Yeah,
So,
completely agree.
what is?
Yeah,
Hmm?
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry. Please go ahead, dude.
No, I was saying a lot of the inspiration for how we designed it came from the whale model, what you were doing, and also the other examples that you were mentioning, NIFTX or NFTX and all of that. So the intention behind all of those projects sort of fed into what we wanted to do with B20. I just wanted to put that on record.
Amazing. And again, we're thrilled to have such a strong relationship with you, just as a person and as friends.
Right.
But yeah, again, looking forward to all of the future partnerships that we'll have with Metapurse as well. I think you and I talked a tiny bit about it during a personal call. But again,
Yes.
Metapurse is one of those organizations that I highly respect in the space, simply because we don't only share a similar vision for how we need to help support the NFT space. But you and I share a very similar vision in terms of the investment philosophies and what we invest in, right? Um,
Right.
and that actually leads me to my next question. So, Metapurse, amazing fun. You have an amazing curator and amazing investor for Metapurse in yourself, and you have an amazing backer as well as visionary in
Mm.
terms of MetaCoven. What have you guys been? So, when did you guys start investing? What have you guys been investing in? And what
Mm.
projects have really caught your eye over the last couple of months?
Wow, that's interesting. Some of them are hush hush under the wraps, but I can, in broad strokes, talk about categories. For instance, we are interested in NFT specific projects that again speak to creating experiences around NFTs rather than limiting themselves to marketplaces. Some broad examples would be, I mean, we have an excellent relationship and a partnership with Grow Your Base,
Mhm.
which are aiming to be an experience portal into NFTs. They have a very strong onboarding system which is focused on the mainstream, and I see them becoming an experience center rather than a marketplace. So, in fact, the way they look at NFTs itself is like lifestyle tokens, pretty much. So there's no limit to that. So if you want a particular lifestyle, whether you're looking at luxury or whether you're looking at charity, whether you're looking at finance, all of it gets bundled into NFTs, and they offer their subscribers an exposure to that variety of NFTs. Another category is, for instance, since I said charity, we have Cryptograph, who have I
Mhm.
think the most solid bidding smart contract I've ever seen. It's like airtight and super innovative, and they
Mhm.
also have very strong ties to a wide range of celebrities who create exclusive art for their platform for a variety of causes. So basically a massive dopamine rush when you go and bid for a piece and buy it on Cryptograph. A bunch of other projects in that sense. Then there is art, and then there are gaming worlds like. You've invested heavily in gaming ecosystems. Those are great. There are then architects who build, visionary infrastructure in this space, like voxel architects themselves, quite literally, and the other stuff that they do. I know that you're a big fan of crypto motors as well, so we are super interested in the work they do on these fronts. And then there is art. Art is probably the most abstract of all of these things, but also, I believe, very evocative, and because of that, high potential assets in that sense. And our philosophy of trying to invest in this, brother, is quite simple, and we love this about it. It's because not everybody can do this, right? You've done it for over a year now, and you know that it's not an exact science. You know that a lot of it is about a gut feel that you have, an instinct that you have, and also the network effects that you have in this space, the people that you know, the conversations that you've had, right? So, and here's where I'll try to distill all of that verbiage into one single sentence. What I'm trying to say is that NFTs force finance to move out of their comfort zone and engage with art, with experience. We strongly believe in this particular philosophy, and this is what forces most of our inroads into the NFT space.
That is amazing. And again, I'm drawing so many similarities between the way that you guys approach investing in the blockchain space as a whole, and the way that we're able to manage investments not only as Whale but also as an individual as Whale Shark. I'm seeing so many synergies and similarities here. Just recapping, I mean, just looking at what Metapurse does and what Metapurse invests in, essentially, you guys not only invest in individual NFTs, but you also invest in the total infrastructure of the space, whether that is through the supporting of buying of tokens or whether that is the early, very, and this is not even pre-seed, right? What you're talking about is pre-seed, right? Um, uh,
Yes,
which is an amazing point at times to provide investment, right?
true.
You allow creators to bring something to life, and the returns, I guess, again, you're talking about fiscal responsibility, the returns on those sort of investments, when you look at the right people and the right projects, is astronomical. So
Correct.
that leads me to two questions here. And again, I get very excited when I talk to other investors, simply because we don't get to meet many. Not only on Whale FM, but also in real life. You'll chill out, you'll hang out a tiny bit, but you really won't deep dive into the models that they use to make those investments.
Correct.
Two-part question. Two-part question on investment. So why don't I shoot you out probably the one that the audience wants to listen to first.
Okay.
You know that the whale community comprises of the largest group of collectors as well as creators in the space. You know, Metapurse, you invest in individual NFTs, you buy artwork, you buy NFTs, you buy gaming assets. What is the decision-making matrix that you use to assess an NFT before you decide to buy it?
Okay. If we're talking about single NFTs, say art or something of that sort, uh, we we focus a lot on the non-fungibility of it, not just on that particular piece, but on the concept itself, right? It has to be completely and utterly unique, the first of something, or some sort of an outlier in something. That's really attractive. That goes a long way. For instance, even when it comes to art, I love to pick up pieces which are contrarian to the artist's original or usual style. And this is what Josie and I were riffing about in the morning. Whether it's a Kitty Bass piece or a Silvio Vieira art piece, they both have very rich styles ordinarily, but there are some of those tiny pieces which are not as expressive, which they might have caught in an off mood or something contra. So that's one way of looking at it. But now post B20 and the conversations we've had around it, I'm going to be focusing on NFTs with the intention of being able to create an experience around them. Not all of them are going to be like B20, but the idea will be some sort of an umbrella under which all of these NFTs have a home and have space to breathe and to live. That's going to be my priority. So I can't take an NFT and hide it from the rest of the world anymore. I wanted to live and breathe.
Bro, you again. I keep saying this, but we have so much in common.
Yeah.
I mean, if you draw that parallel to Whale, right? I mean, Whale was about taking this epic NFT collection and being able to share the journey and share the experience
Exactly.
with whale holders, right? I love what you're saying. It's music to my ears, my friend. But sorry, dude, I know we did talk about putting you in the hot seat a little bit, so I am going to ask the harder question.
Okay.
I am going to ask the harder question for you now. So, again, I think when you purchase an NFT and when you purchase a collectible, you really can't make a wrong choice, because when you're collecting something that you love, right, and that you love with conviction, it doesn't matter what the value is later on, right? Eventually, that love and conviction, once again, it can be proven to be commercially correct, or it can be proven to be commercially wrong. The thing that people invest in, where it doesn't matter how much love or how much conviction you have in, is when you invest in. Conviction is important, but
Yeah.
when you look at investing in companies, or when you look at investing in projects, no longer at the digital asset level, what is the thought process, or what is the decision process that you go through in order to say, hey, this is a great project. I love this, this, and this about it. What is your thought process?
I'd say it can't be about just one thing. I think that's how you hedge that kind of a risk, right? So take B20 for instance. Those 20 works of art, 2.2 million worth of art, are not the only component, or even the most important component at the detriment of everything else. They are a part of the whole, and I think that's very important when you're looking at trying to provide a financial upside to all of the stakeholders. So now that we've got those works of art, we created an experience, an ecosystem around them. Metacoven spent close to $500,000 to produce that experience, and that includes prime lands across Decentraland, Cryptovoxels, Somnium Space, and Sandbox. Unfortunately, Sandbox won't be part of the bundle, but it will still be part of the experience. We had voxel architects spend over 500 man hours building those massive museums to house all of these things in. We've got Blau giving us an exclusive soundtrack that will permeate the walls of these museums. So it's the first public art project out there, which admittedly is bigger than Metapurse, is bigger than Beeple, it's bigger than all of us. So I think that's kind of how you hedge your bets, or hedge the risk when it comes to looking at individual NFTs, is to not look at it as an individual NFT. Because if you do that, you're only thinking about the flipping model. If you make it part of a larger experience, a more constant experience, then I think you're home.
It is an extremely premium. It is an extremely premium experience, and it probably is one of the most premium NFT experiences that I've ever seen. The very fact that, number one, you have the record-breaking selling artist, headlining that experience, and on top of that, you're covering every single major metaverse project in the space, and on top of that, you guys also have Blau coming in to be able to release content. I think that's an unbelievable experience. And I actually do want to spend a lot of time talking about Beeple and B20. I'm looking at some of the questions flowing in here. We've got a bunch of questions, but I'm going to go through some very basic questions before I open it up to the community. So the question as we lead into B20. So Metapurse broke records with the collection of what is now known as B20. Can you tell me a little bit about that thought process, why you guys decided to do it, and how you approached the auction?
Sure. The first part was the intention was pretty simple. We wanted to build something for the ecosystem of creators and artists here, and we were thinking about a way in which to do it that will be sustainable. Because like I was saying, the reason altruism doesn't work is that it often doesn't make financial sense, and it is a stupid way to approach life, and a stupid way to help people either, right? Because it's not sustainable at all. So if it has to be sustainable, it has to make economic sense, and that's where Metacoven comes in. So we sort of constructed a financial model, an ecosystem model, which gives pleasure and joy to a large amount of people, and also gives them a share of the financial upsides. So when we were thinking along these lines, we needed a proof of concept which had to work. So in a sense, which would work at a certain scale. It's just like you're building the first computer or the first car or something. It has to be massive. because you don't know the minutiae of it and how they all fit together. And right around the time we were thinking about that, the Beeple drop news started to trickle in, and again, totally serendipitous, right? Beeple out of the blue reached out to Metacoven. He didn't have to, because he reached out for the only reason that Metacoven lost a bid on one of his previous drops. So just as a courtesy, he reached out to him, spoke to him about an upcoming drop and so on, and it just clicked. Okay, for us to try out this idea of being able to transform the experience around art and also the ownership around art, we needed it to be of a massive scale. That's when the proof of concept would work. So after that, it was only a question of planning a strategy around it. The strategy again was pretty straightforward. Our focus was to get these pieces, not to flex that we could get them, because let's face it, Whale Shark, you can afford $2.2 million. Any of the 10 bidders who battled against us across those 20 bids could have dropped $2.2 million to get that. It's not a question of affordability, but our focus was to get all of those pieces. So what we did was to go under the radar, create over a dozen accounts, and sort of sufficiently fund those accounts, which is a massive challenge because you don't know what the cap is, right? How do you even start to speculate what the outer limit would be? So we naively thought at one point that 200,000 would be a cap. Fortunately, we didn't stick to that. We funded the accounts sufficiently. We named some of the accounts after the Seven Hills of Rome, some of them after Charles Babbage and other founding fathers of this one, some after characters in Indian mythology, and some really random ones. And then we got to work. Every bid was a battle. You know how it works, and you know how intense it can be. We just put our heads down, didn't let ego or frustration or sentiment catch up. We set that aside, and on two consoles separated by a body of water, Metacoven and I sort of tackled the auctions one after the other, sometimes two auctions simultaneously. And 2 days, 2 nights actually, because of the time zone we live in, 7 hours stretches without getting up from your seat. And that's how we did it.
That is amazing, and I love the fact that Metacoven actually also does get his hands dirty, right? The
Oh
very
yeah,
fact
he
that
does.
the very fact that he was sitting down there with you at the same time, and you guys were orchestrating all of these bids, that is fantastic. Before we talk a little bit more about B20, because that's a bulk of where all the questions are coming in from the community as well. I can tell you, very popular. I'm getting questions feeding in from some of the moderators.
Okay.
And you talked a little about this. Did you guys expect that the total amount was going to end at 2.2 million to be able to collect the entire collection?
Nope, we had no clue. We didn't know, and we didn't want to think about that at all. But yeah, I just am glad that we were prepared for it, but we didn't expect it, and we also didn't have a plan B for when one of you guys, the other the community of collectors out there, lost his shit because we pissed him off, one bid after another, and dropped a massive one and picked up the 18th piece or the 19th piece out of 20. So there was no backup for that. I'm just glad we were able to hold our breath for a few seconds longer than the next collector.
Bidding is really part of the is part of the fun, and it can be it can be extremely daunting. It can give you that adrenaline rush.
Yep.
But again, I think what you guys did with that bid is, again, you guys not only bought a fantastic body of work. You guys not only established yourselves as a leading collection fund. I mean, Metacoven has always been very well respected in the space, and everyone has heard of Metapurse, but this really established you guys in the top tier of collectors. And at the same time, you guys were able to acquire an opportunity, right? An opportunity that we know now is B20. And my hats off to you guys in being able to say, this is what we were going to do with it. We knew that we were going to do this beforehand. That just really shows a lot of the visionary thought process that you guys are going through. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to spend a lot of time and our remaining time talking about the B20 project. So B20 is launching tomorrow, all right, January 23rd. Yay! Congratulations, guys. And I do see Medico in the audience. Congratulations, my friend. So you guys are launching tomorrow. So can you tell the community a little bit about the project and what it is, and why is it an attractive proposition for collectors who want exposure to the Beeple NFTs?
Sure. Can you showcase the landing page website if you don't mind, Vilchak? Or can I?
This one over here. The
Yeah,
landing page
b20.metaverse.fund.
Okay, 1 second here.
b20.metaverse.fund.
Metaverse. Oh, do I have that wrong?
Metapurse.
Oh,
Metaverse. Metaverse.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. No problem.
All right, here we go.
Yep. We call the launch party Metapalooza. It's named after the iconic, art festival in Chicago, the Lollapalooza. So that's what this the launch festival is about. It's happening 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. CST. You can sign up, you can RSVP, and it's happening across Metaverse world. It's happening in Cryptovoxels, Decentraland, and there'll be a tour in Somnium as well. So you can pop in anywhere. And this is also the launch party of the B20 token. You can start to purchase your tokens at counters, at kiosks, set up in Cryptovoxels. You can buy them directly in Decentraland. It's been, some nifty programming from the Whale Street team and Leandro's Voxel Architects team. The bundle itself is fascinating, Wheelchart, because it contains not just the 20 Beeple pieces, but also all of those estates in the metaverses, and also NFTs that represent the insane builds which have popped up there, and the exclusive soundtrack from now. All of this become part of the bundle, and that bundle is then fractionalized, and the ownership of that bundle becomes B20. There are 10 million B20 tokens in all, and the split is also very interesting and curious in a sense. One of the questions, in fact, Jimmy had asked earlier in the day when I spoke with Josie was, is one of the reasons we are doing this is to recapture the cost of this, which is, I'd say that's definitely not the primary reason, or even the biggest reason for this, because if that were true, we would release a larger amount of tokens for the public sale. Right now, we have only 16% of the tokens available to the public. We have we released 12% of the tokens to 2 tranches of possible collaborators in the space, some friends and well-wishers in the space. But the favorite allocations, the 2 favorite allocations are one, a 2% allocation for Beeple, the artist, and the coolest bit is that this would be his first crypto allocation, right? First crypto token. So that really excites us in a sense. The other part is the 11% allocation is for the people that worked on all of this, for Voxel Architects, for Metacast, who took care of this gorgeous website that you're looking at, all of the messaging, in crafting it, in distributing it, and so on. For Grow Your Base, who helped with the tokenomics, with the strategy, with Whale Street, who took care of the portal tech, with Voxel Architects, who created the insane builds and spent so much money, so much time and effort into this. And they all could have walked away with ETH or USDC or the virtual equivalent of hard cash, but they chose to take a piece of history with them instead, and that really reaffirms our faith in the fact that we're doing the right thing here.
That is, and I'm sorry. While you were explaining the project and explaining the tokenomics, I was just scrolling through the website, and this is just fantastic. It's amazing. And on top of that, again, shout out to Leander of Voxel Architects. They're your primary choice of virtual world builders. They're ours as well. And we honestly, that they actually maintain all of our buildings as well. We owe them quite a bit for their expertise. dude, this looks amazing. And the main thing that I want to do is, because I know that originally we planned to go through some of the more operational details of B20, because I think the main question is coming in from myself as well as the community is, how do we get involved, right? So why don't I do this? We have 18 minutes left. We have quite a few questions to get through to, and they're basically also mainly focused on the operations of B20 and how it's going to launch tomorrow. So, all right. So, dude, are you ready for me to vacate the interviewer seat and I will represent the whale community and ask you all those hard questions? You ready for this?
Fire away, sir.
They have sharper teeth than I do. All right. Okay. So the first question is, how can we buy B20 tokens? How can we prep to get in quick? What is the payment method? Is it ETH? What is it?
Okay, you can buy B20 tokens during the Metapalooza. That's when it becomes open. You can buy them at b20.whalestreet.xyz. That's going to be the marketplace for these tokens. You won't see the UI until the Metapalooza begins because that's when the sale actually starts. It's a pretty cool and self-explanatory UI. You just go in, you choose how many B20s you want, you pay and you get out. And you pay in DAI. We've restricted it to DAI as a stable coin because it makes the math easier and the whole thing more convenient. Anything else? And how do you prep to get in early? Well, it starts during the Metapalooza.
So how do they not
turn
miss
up
out?
To the party. just turn up to the party. That's it. Come to Metapalooza.
So question, bro, if you guys sell, let's say you guys sell out in 5 minutes, are you guys going to do a second round or is it first come first serve?
I think it's going to be it's going to be first come first serve. We're keeping it really simple this time, Wilja. It's
Gotcha.
Because it's not a social token, it's not a utility token. It just represents the experience and ownership of that gorgeous bundle. That's it. So we're keeping it simple. We're keeping it easy. Come in, attend the party, click a link, buy the tokens, go home happy.
Sounds good. It's fast and easy, just the way I like it. All right. So the question. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna. There's quite a bit of questions, so I'm just gonna jumble them in and out. How did you manage to organize to become a bridge point between these virtual reality worlds? Where did that idea come from?
Let's see. The whole concept of Metaverse, the Metaverse itself, is that interoperability, right? That's what we've been sort of, waiting for, yearning for in a sense over the last couple of years. And I think the various experiments in this space, whether it is, the whip meetup, piping in the weekly whip from Cryptovoxels to Decentraland, or, Arthur doing launch parties with Blau in Somnium Space, and that being piped into other worlds. Those are sort of early experiments in this. What we loved about the B20 experiment is that it gives you the same experience in different flavors across the metaverse worlds. And I find that fascinating, and I find that very important because we need to break this feeling of exclusivity, of tribalism when it comes to metaverse worlds, and understand that all of these are part of the larger universe.
Gotcha. And dude, I think is this the first time that someone is holding an event simultaneously on all major platforms at the same time? You're much more well versed into this than I am. I haven't seen it before. I haven't seen it before, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. So if everything is happening at the same time, and I probably each different metaverse is going to have a different build. How are you guys going to approach the simultaneous communication between during the launch party itself?
Oh, that's entirely down to the Token Smart team. Massive props to Trizlit, to Dragonate, to the Whip crew, including Matthew. Jim, thanks so much for being part of this in that sense. So they will handle all of the telecast and the piping in, whether it is sound or visuals. This primarily will take place in Cryptovoxels because that's where Beeple will be as an avatar. So will Blau behind a cool as DJ set. The rest of it will be piped into Decentraland, and we'll have a short sort of a walkthrough a live, through the eyes of Arthur, who will give us a tour of the build in Somnium Space, what it can do. So primarily, you can sort of hop into Cryptovoxels and sort of attend it as an avatar, but you're welcome to experience it in the other worlds as well.
So if we want to listen to all of the wonderful things going on, so we can just hop into Cryptovoxels, we can hop into any of the metaverses, and we will have the live stream audio going in on all of these different worlds at the same time, right? Alternatively, can people hop
No,
into
I
the
would
tokens?
suggest you don't turn on the. Yes, not alternatively, that should be the primary method of being able to listen to this. Because the Token Smart Discord is like perfectly set up for this kind of thing, and they've sort of done an insane number of practice runs. They've done parties, they've done speeches, they've done sort of listening parties for podcasts. So they're good at this. So we will depend on the Token Smart Discord, which will sort of open up a section saying happening today and Metapalooza, and you just click on that audio stream and you should be in. We would suggest that you don't use the in-world audio because that's typically patchy. So get on the
Gotcha.
Token Smart Discord to listen. We will have all those details also on the page you're looking at on the screen, but the broad strokes is this. Turn up, just go to this b20.metapurse.fun. You'll have all the details you need. Sign up and you'll get a lot of information. But tomorrow, at the right time, turn up at the Token Smart Discord, open up Cryptovoxels, wear your best wearables as an avatar, and enjoy the show.
Very good. So, guys, you're looking at it right here. You have 30 hours, 40 minutes, and 42 seconds. Make sure you guys put that on your timer. As Tudor mentioned just now, all you have to do is be on this page when that counter reaches 0, and all of the information for you guys to be able to join the Metapalooza will be there. But on top of that, if you want to just make sure that you're ready, make sure that you're signed into your Cryptovoxel account, and you got your wearables all decked out. And in addition to that, make sure you join the Token Smart Discord, which Alegria has posted in the stream text below. Once again, Jim and the Token Smart and the NFT 42 team are really a huge boon and blessing for the space. Not only pushing the boundaries of technology, NFT technology, but also pushing the boundaries of virtual audio cables, right? Based on my
That's
understanding.
true. They are. Jim is a character, right? I think he's a true original in this space. I admire the heck out of his passion for this and his brutal honesty, which can ingratiate many in the space. But I have a personal fondness for that kind of honesty, because when you have a conversation with him, it's usually WYSIWYG, right? What you see is what you get. That's infinitely more preferable than the alternative. So yeah, and I love the work he's doing with community. Yeah,
I could praise Jim all day, but the main thing about Jim is he really puts his money where his mouth is, right? So he talks about driving the space forward. He talks about NFTs coming around and dominating the world, but it's not all talk, right? It's basically what he does is he really put up a lot of investments to be able to hire and maintain this epic team that you see at NFT 42 and Token Smart. So again, not only a hat tip off to Leandro and the Vox Architects team, but a common friend between you and myself. Jim is epic, and he's also a chief partner with Whale. So he provides a lot of strong insights in terms of how to navigate the community. Question from 1 second here. So will the public token sale and launch party happen exactly at the same time?
Around the same time. The token sale will happen. It won't happen before the public party, which is why I say you have to get to the party to sort of get a heads up about when the token sale is about to start. So I highly recommend that. So instead of setting a time, we are sort of making it organic, because it's mostly just a push of a button. So at the right time, after say Beeple speaks, or we start on a tour, or when Blau starts to play his music, it could be any of these things, the actual sale will begin, and we can go and experience it then. You won't see the UI until that happens.
And for those of you who do want to make sure that you got the leg up in terms of speed in order to get in on the sale, I have put up the Well Street XYZ website. I guess the only thing is that you just have to make sure that you're logged into MetaMask, right? And be ready to
Yes.
if you really did want to get the leg up, you got to make sure you have you have Whale Street up, you got your MetaMask logged in, and you're ready to pay some high gas fees, right? Is that the way that?
Yeah, the last part is the one thing that's not in my hands. The rest of it, I can completely get behind.
Oh, dude, the whale community is very well versed in MetaMask. I think at points in time, we set our own gas a lot of the time. Gian, you can see there says get the 999 ready. So, absolutely. And let's keep going through these questions. I do want to make sure that we are able to get to the majority of these. What will happen with the physical portion, so the hair and physical screen of the Beeple collections?
Yeah, that's still a tiny cause of concern, but we have made some headway in that regard. Now, if we didn't have all of this COVID nonsense going on, by nonsense I mean massive inconvenience. Yes, I am sad about it all, but also it prevents us from being able to truly, sort of express the ideas we have. One of the things we wanted to do was to throw a roadshow IRL, and the physical pieces will be part of that. So at one point, Beeple very generously offered, and this was his idea, that there ought to be a massive roadshow, a party, and he'd spend all day and all night signing autographs to everybody who had B20s. So
That's very generous
I
of
think
him.
the physical, yeah, it is, and I think the physical pieces are going to be indelibly linked to that kind of an experience because they have to translate, right? The B20 experience also translates in the physical realm. One part is if you buy. Oh, by the way, Meta Factory has a kiosk at Metapalooza. If you buy one of the NFTs that they're selling of a T-shirt or a hoodie, you get the physical piece delivered to your home, not the other way around. So we sort of flipped the model for this, and in a similar fashion, the B20 experience is the next, say, celebratory party or a massive gathering of B20 holders will happen IRL somewhere, and that will include some special experiences, including the one I just described, where you're able to experience the physical pieces, where you're able to shake hands with people, probably be abused by him, in choice vocabulary and so on. So all that will be part of the experience.
The Beeple B20 experience. That sounds amazing.
Yep.
Um,
He'd call it the
so
motherfucking B20 experience, but yes.
the motherfucking B20 experience, dude. I will be first in queue for that. um, so another question coming in is are the Beeple pieces and the Metaverse museums the entirety of what the B20 token will be, or do you plan on growing it with future editions?
Not at all. That will be the entirety of it, and that's in fact the whole point of this. Because Whale Shark, like you have experienced before, this is a massive responsibility of trying to maintain an expanding vault of assets, right? That's not what we wanted to do with B20. We look at it as a movie or as a finite production of high value assets. So it's like making a movie and then allowing people not just to experience it, but also to own a piece of the financial upsides of that movie. Like, say, call it a Mission Impossible movie, or Matthew and Rizal are going to laugh at me if I say this: True Lies, which I do believe is one of the greats, or Independence Day, right? So that's how we look at it, which means that it has to be frozen in time. It should be immutable, not just by other people, but by us as well. We shouldn't be able to tamper with it or remove any of the assets or replace or add on to it in any sense or form. So it's sort of a composite piece in that sense. That said, it can also grow to be some sort of a series. When they made Mission Impossible, I don't think they thought there'd be a second or a third or a fourth or a fifth or a sixth. But the idea is that we are going to think about future experiences of this sort. Each one hopefully way different than the previous one, But this is the direction we're going to take.
Gotcha. And just so that we understand technologically and I guess ownership wise, so basically the tokens represent an interest in this total collection, an epic collection of all the B20 pieces, as
Right.
well as the Metaverse assets that are within there. Um, and again, so they're being held on a very secure wallet. I would assume, right, to make sure
Hmm.
that everything, all these assets are fully protected.
Better, they are held in a smart contract. So
Yeah.
wallets again have sort of an inside and outside access. They're going to be in a smart contract which we can't touch unless,
Mhm.
and here's where it gets interesting, we have incorporated a buyout clause for the Beeple bundle. So if somebody, and we sort of left that open as well. If the original idea was to make it dynamic, but then we didn't want to. So
Mhm.
right now, if somebody hits a threshold of say 10 million DAI, they are free to make an opening bid to buy out the entire Beetle bundle. Now, the community can either allow them to buy the bundle out and take the assets and do what they will with them, in which case we just pass on the movie rights to somebody else, or they can decide that the bid is not high enough, is not good enough, and 25% of them can stake their tokens and veto the bid. And this is going to last for a certain number of epochs, about
Mhm.
48 epochs. I think each epoch is 8 hours, in which time either of these two things can happen. Either somebody else can bid higher, or the community
Mhm.
can veto the bid. So this is how it's going to happen, but it's all going to be automated and in a smart contract, nothing to do with us anymore.
Very cool. So technologically speaking, guys, if you do want to get into the B20 sale, you guys don't need to worry from a technological standpoint. If everything is on chain and within a smart contract, and in the addition to this buyout clause, again, it could be an extremely profit. It could be not financial advice. Could be an
Hmm.
extremely profitable venture. Um, we are approaching the hour, Tubadur. So what
Oh,
I want to do is ask a very important question. Um,
okay.
Also coming in from the community. And I know that you probably touched on some of these, again, mentioned the positioning and whatnot. What are some things B20 holders should expect? Incentives,
Hmm.
long term growth. Also, where do you see B20 in the future?
Okay, I see B20 as the first of its kind, a new species of token, which represents true ownership, which gives the benefit of experience as well. I mean, think about uh, being able to walk into the Museum of Modern Art or looking at the Capitol and thinking, not only can I experience all that grandeur, but I actually own a piece of it. Not a piece of it, but rather that I have a key to the city, or I have a key to the capital, a personal one. And I know this is not the ideal time to reference that, but I think it's important for that same reason. So every a person who holds a B20 token not just experiences the grandeur of what you're looking at, but also actually and quite pragmatically owns the financial upside of it, if it comes to that. So what they can expect in terms of growth is for that experience to continue, for them to be able to look at these landmark builds or this historic experiment sort of take root and grow from generation to generation. Because every week, every few weeks, you see a new flood of people coming into the metaverse, trying to find some sort of exposure to high value NFT assets. And this is going to be their dependable gateway drug, and the first of many such experiences which will also be tokenized, and just a hint of a wish of an idea there, and a proper index for NFT funds.
Very cool. Absolutely love the positioning. And I don't think anybody can have a better gateway drug than being able to own part of the largest
Hmm.
sale, right? One of the largest
Yep.
sales in NFT history. You and I have something to announce to the Will community as well, right, my friend? Um,
Yes,
we do.
yes, we
So
do.
As you guys know, love what Metapurse is doing with B20, and what we will be doing is in order to help facilitate the growth of that B20 community, we are going to be hosting a B20 community within the whale community segment. Once again, we will work out the details. We have our best guy on it, so Zorro is on it, and we can't wait to help and facilitate that communication.
Brilliant. I can't wait for that. No pressure, but this is. I love a sort of a melding of communities, and you do it better than most, Whale Shark. Your community is it's enthusiastic, it's loyal, and it's very positive predominantly. We'd love to be part of that.
My friend, it's really going to be an honor on our side to be able to help host something like that. Once again, I think the initial thought processes, just so that everybody knows, is we'll prior to the B20 launch, and I will touch base with TWOBADOUR on this later on. But before the B20 launch, we'll make sure that we keep it an open channel for people to be in there. And once again, we do very much hope that TWOBADOUR and Metacoven are going to be active participants in that channel, and absolutely will think so. And then after that, what we'll do is we'll make sure that actually transitions eventually into something like, maybe if you hold one B20 token, you'll be able to have access to it, so that again we can help facilitate that community growth, very much like what we've done with Hackatao. TWOBADOUR, just so psyched and so excited that you guys have had so much success in the space. And bro, like you said in the beginning of this interview, this really has been a long time coming. I hope you didn't get any cuts from the whale shark teeth. Definitely didn't get hit on the nose. But so excited to see this B20 launch. And again, just making sure that everybody does know where to go tomorrow. Essentially, tomorrow, all you have to go to is b20.metapurse.fund, and actually wait for that time ticker to go all the way down to 0000. And basically, upon that, all of the information that you do need to join the B20 sale is going to show up. You definitely want to hop into the Token Smart Discord, where they will be piping in all of the audio for the launch party. And on top of that, if you do want to make sure that you get in early and good on the B20 sale, make sure you go to whalestreet.xyz, connect your wallet beforehand, make sure you have that valuable ETH to pay those gas fees, and you guys will be part of one of the most epic events that I've ever seen in NFT land. TWOBADOUR, Metacoven. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, do keep some DAI handy, because that's the only currency in which you can get your B20. So thanks, Alegria, for pointing that out.
Exactly. So everybody, if you guys can make sure that you stock up on DAI so that you can participate. TWOBADOUR, Metacoven, I mean, thank you so much for allowing us to have the opportunity to share information about this amazing project with the community. I'm just scrolling through the audience here, and it's extremely robust, and I do think we're going to see a lot more attention to it as well on our YouTube channel.
Awesome. This was such a pleasure, Whale Shark. Thank you for having me on, even before any of this sort of happened, and this has been a pleasure. I'm going to cherish this conversation for a long time.
Dude, we will make sure that we save it and upload it to the internet for posterity.
We shall.
All right. Thank you so much, my friend. And once again, best of luck with the launch tomorrow. I will definitely be there. Definitely be on Whale Street. Definitely be in Cryptovoxels. You guys can catch. You guys will be able to catch TWOBADOUR, Metacoven, Beeple, as well as Blau down there. And if you guys do spot me, I'll be wearing a shark head with a dead fish, courtesy of Voxel Architects.
Awesome,
thank you so much, guys.
I look for you there. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Good luck, guys. Thank you. Bye. All right. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Again, there are very few projects in the space that have the quality of the collection and the investor eye that not only looks at beautiful pieces, but are also able to identify an opportunity whereby there is significant headroom from an investment perspective. And I have all of the respect in the world to Metapurse, as well as the ability to, with the foresight and the vision, to acquire these pieces. So that everyone can participate, right? The democratization of a very valuable asset that everybody can get involved. So I do hope that everybody does join the Metapalooza, does get in on the B20 token, and we look forward to seeing all of the activity in the whale server from that. Thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna play some music, and we will end off the stream. I hope all of you guys had fun.